Hey, what's up, guys? We're back for an express episode, a bonus episode. I don't know what we call that, but we're here with Josh. What's up, bro?
Not much, man. Just finished watching PFC 15. I'm ready to talk about the fights.
Yes, of course, because just to put you guys in context, the podcast that you are going to see tomorrow is the podcast that we recorded before. And we kind of recorded it during the event. And then at the end of the event, I had a text from Daniel from Samurai who told me, hey, there's a live YouTube for the PFC card. And I wasn't expecting to have a stream on the card, as you'll see on tomorrow's podcast. But yeah, finally we got a stream. So, man, before we get into all the Samurai craziness and everything, we need to talk about that Prospect FC fight because the guys at Prospect FC have always been very good to us, and they put on great shows and great events for Canadian MMA. So we want to cover every event. That's one event, and I'm just very happy that we won't have to cover it fight by fight like when they release on YouTube. We got to watch it all in a whole sitting. It was good. But before we do that, I just want to talk briefly about three fights that get announced this week. The first one of them is in France at Hexagon MMA 7. It's going to be Javad Majoub and a guy named Kasper Miklash. Javad is basically a three-time Olympian in judo. He was living in Iran, so he was like for Iran, I think once, and then the two last Olympics, he was for the refugee team or whatever that was called. So yeah, he did the Olympics in judo three times. He just moved to Montreal I'd say a year and a half ago, but that wasn't right. That wasn't true because I know Javad pretty good because my first tournament as a purple belt, I was in the absolute for Nogi, and it was like all weight since it's the absolute, and I was matched up with this guy, and it went like not super well as you would expect. But yeah, so that was my first tournament as a purple belt. So that's maybe 2 years and a half ago or 2 years ago. So he just had moved to Canada at that time. And yeah, he's been training at TriStar ever since. He lives here now, and he made his pro debut on a boxing event held by Yann Pellerin, where he was the only MMA fight on the event. He fought a Mexican guy in a ring, and he almost made a hole in the ring with the poor guy's head. So he's going to France fighting a Polish guy named Kasper Miklash. That's on March 11th, so that's this weekend. So we'll stay tuned for that, I guess. I hope we get to see some footage or whatever, but pretty confident for Javad. He's a phenom prospect for sure, like an Olympian that transitions to MMA. That doesn't happen really often, especially at heavyweight. So he's one to watch for sure.
I'm happy that he's moved to Canada so that we've got another heavyweight that's up and coming, because we've got a couple that are good and young, but that's another one to add. And does Hexagon still do quite a few fights? Because ever since Aries started doing shows on Fight Pass and they sort of started, I haven't really heard a ton out of them.
I don't know, man. To be honest, I have no clue, so I can tell. Then LFA 157. We've got a title fight for Melissa Croden, who's going to be fighting Jacqueline Cavalcanti. And yeah, man, Melissa Croden, one of the best up-and-coming women's fighter in Canada. She gets a big opportunity for a big league. That's on April 21st, so a little more than a month and a half away. We're going to be watching that for sure, man, on Fight Pass and everything too, so that'll be easy to watch. And super exciting opportunity for... I don't remember, did I put her in my top 10 or in my honorable mentions for the Canadian?
She was in the honorable mentions.
Yeah, exactly, because I felt like maybe with only 4-1 that it would take her more than like 1 year to get there. But if she's already in the LFA fighting for belts and shit, that it may go way faster than that for her, and that's what we hope for sure. And finally, man,
no, go ahead.
Finally, man, the BFL been teasing, this fight might happen sometimes in the future, but it's happening on the card, man. It's Ash Mashregi and Dario Synagoga in a kind of a, how would you call that? I wouldn't say a super fight because they're not champs, but like a big ass fight from two guys that are not in the same division, that are gonna kind of meet in the middle, and just like two super well-known BC guys too. So
Yes, two super well-known guys, and they've also like it seems like they've got a good storyline as they used to train together back when Dario was first starting, and sounds like Ash used to sort of beat him up a little bit and get the better of him in the gym. But ever since then, Dario's 6-0 now, and Dario's had a very successful career and fought for the interim title for BFL. So he looks to start out in the new weight class against Ash. Ash is moving down, correct?
Yeah, I believe I need to check the poster or whatever, but
yeah, because it's 165, I'm pretty sure. So
okay, so that's small for Ash, no?
I think so, yeah, because he was just fought James Foster.
It says welterweight bout.
Okay, so 170.
70 or 75, depends.
Wow, if it's 75, that's a 20-pound jump up for Dario and against a big guy. So
well,
that would
a 10-pound jump up since he misses by 10 pounds every time he tries.
Yeah, but I guess so. Yeah, fuck. But yeah, that's gonna be a good one. Now that makes that 24 fights for BFL. So that's gonna be a long night. I hope they're gonna let me bring some food in, because otherwise I'm gonna be starving in there. But can't wait for the fights.
No, for sure, man. So that's going to be an enormous night, and it's coming March 30. We can't wait for that. So let's get into it. Prospects 15 was taking place at the Rebel in Toronto. And do we start by the main event, or do we start at the bottom?
I know you like to start at the main event, so we can do that.
Let's do that then. Michael Imperato against Musa Toliver at 145. And bro, I feel like we could take this fight like minute by minute and really try to see who won that. But bro, like it wasn't a good fight, man. I don't know if I want to like spend all the energy. So the bottom line here is that Michael Imperato wins the split decision. Some might say controversial because let's say we're in 2010. That's a 30-27 for Toliver. Easy. Like easy. But the thing is that Toliver was like the definition of a blanket on top. He did nothing. So basically first round, I think the first leg kick Imperato tries to throw gets caught. He gets taken down. And then you've got Toliver being a complete blanket on top. And then you've got Imperato trying stuff, but like I don't think that trying stuff but not like succeeding in that stuff, that's not really like scoring, in my opinion. And I feel like in the scoring criteria too. So basically, we've got a guy who's on top, who's not scoring. And we've got a guy who's on bottom who, like, yes, he's trying stuff. But like, let's say he's working on a triangle. So he's got a grip on an arm and he's got his feet on the hips of his opponent. But at no point he's able to pull the arm through and actually try a triangle. Like, there's no actual submission attempt. At a point, he's got... like butterfly hooks, and he's trying to butterfly sweep, but Toliver is able to almost sprawl while he's on top and keep his balance. So basically nothing happens. Nothing that scores happens for most of the round, because he basically spends 4 minutes and 30 seconds on top of him, just blanketing him, not doing nothing, not even like throwing punches or nothing for the first round. So how do you score that round? I guess I give it to Toliver because he scored a takedown. That's the only fucking thing that should score in that round. So there you go. You get the round. Second round is kind of more of the same, except that Imperato was able to land some, like, let's say 2 or 3 good leg kicks at the beginning of the round before getting taken down. And then that's the round where Imperato kind of like gets tired of it all and just stops trying to get back up to his feet and just looks to strikes from bottom, but the strikes from bottom are like open palm shots to the ear and like nothing that really exists. And then Toliver just begins doing like, he's all the way crouched on to Imperato and he's doing like the body head, but like that's the velocity of his punches basically. So they cancel each other out. There was a takedown for Toliver. There was 2 or 3 leg kicks for Imperato. I guess the leg kicks do more damage than the one takedown that results in 4 minutes of control, but absolutely nothing else. So I guess you have to give the second to Imperato.
I don't know. I have to argue on that because I just think that Toliver did land some strikes in the boxing a little bit. I think maybe there's maybe two strikes in the boxing to 3 leg kicks for Imperato. So if we're getting really, really technical in the damage like that, and then you could say that this the damage was equal. So then the 4 minutes of control could come in as the secondary criteria of judging. But it's really how you want to judge the fight. Because some judges don't really care about the criteria, it seems like.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I hear you 100%, my guy, for sure. Then third round, Imperato's like, bro, I got to do something. So he comes out super aggressive. Toliver shoots on him. Imperato sprawls, but Toliver pushes through, and Imperato goes for the guillotine and rolls to his back. So, yeah, that was a very funny moment, I'd say. I don't want to go too hard on him or whatever, but then... basically nothing happens. Fucking crowd is chanting, stand them up, stand them up. That or let's go daddy.
That was the one I wanted to bring
The let's go daddy was pretty good because all you could hear was Imperato's kids all the way through. Hey, let's go daddy. So the whole crowd jumped in at a point. That was pretty cool. But yeah, so there's 1 minute 30 left in the round. Finally the ref comes in like he just realized that he's reffing a fight that should have been stood up 3 times each round, and he's like, oh shit, I should stand them up. So he stands them up. Imperato, bro, comes in with the strikes, gets countered a bit, so he shoots for a takedown, like a double leg, and when it doesn't work, pulls for a fucking leg lock, bro, on his back, and loses the position and spends the rest of the round down on his back. But at least he tried the submission. He landed a few strikes even though he got countered. Maybe you can give him the third round. Maybe you cannot. So is it 29-28 Imperato? Is it 30-27 for the other guy? Is it 29-28 for the other guy? Do we even care enough, since it was basically a fight where one guy did absolutely nothing on top of the other guy for 14 minutes? I guess you guys be the judge, man.
Yeah, I think definitely because it's main event, it sort of steals a lot more of the spotlight of controversy, rather than if we had Strahinja going out there and getting into a crazy fucking war in the main event for however long that would have lasted. But instead we have a controversial decision, so that sort of steals the spotlight. And I sort of, right when the fight ended, I was shocked of the decision. But when I thought about it more and considered about there wasn't a ton of damage landed from Toliver, then I sort of could understand it. But yeah, it's really not super decisive either way, just because of the emphasis on damage nowadays. And Imperato had those moments in the third round, and I just feel like the submission attempts really cost Imperato his chances of winning the fight, as he showed he has good sprawls on multiple occasions, but every time he went for a submission, it would cause him to give up position and therefore give up minutes of the fight. So, he won the fight, so it didn't give up his chances of winning that. But that was my thoughts right before I heard the decision.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a good decision, but is there a good decision in that fight? Did somebody win? Because I don't know, man. It was just trash, to be honest. And I can't feel if you take a guy, get 3 takedowns in the fight, or a takedown and a half because the guy's pulling guillotines and putting himself on his own back for no reason. Mm-hmm. So does Toliver really deserve to win that fight? Not really. But does Imperato really deserve to win that fight? Not really, man. So fuck. Mm-hmm. There's the case where 2 guys kind of deserve to win, so it's heartbreaking if one of them doesn't win. That case, I don't want to be harsh. I got nothing against Michael Imperato. Most of the time, his fights are okay. I feel if that fight was trash, it was mostly on Musa Toliver, who was super inactive and also kind of a good control grappler on top. So he, Imperato didn't really have the chance to do nothing, but I get why they kind of changed the criteria for shit like this not to really happen anymore. Like nobody wants to see a guy lay on top of another guy and do absolutely nothing for 14 minutes of a 15 minutes fight. And that's kind of what happened. And Imperato, yes, tried some stuff, but I don't feel like it should score at all. So we're like really left to try to my feeling is really that each moment they were on the ground, nobody scored for the whole time. So we're left with maybe a minute and a half of action in 3 rounds. So in 3 separate, like, I don't know, man. Sucks.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Isabelle Lacroix, man.
Yeah, just one last thought. I thought like both guys were trying, like there were some strikes on the ground to give them a little bit of credit, but there was nothing damaging, nothing significant, no submissions were close. He wasn't really advancing position at all. Toliver, wasn't advancing position, just comfortable staying in full guard and sort of riding out the fight from there without trying to finish it. So yeah, can't be mad at the decision really, I guess, when you look at it like that.
Like, bro, wait. I wonder what he was thinking. Like, did the fight go through quickly for him, or did he bore his own self on top? Because, like, I don't know, man. I do jiu-jitsu, and I can't lay in the guy's guard for 5 minutes. I'd be like, I'd go to sleep, man. Like, not literally, but like, you know?
Yeah, you just have, I guess you have to assume that he thought that he was definitely winning because he was on top, and they were both, like, the striking was even, so I'm assuming that's what he was thinking, because otherwise, if he would have been advancing positions, if he knew how close it was on the scorecards, he would have been trying to make more of an emphasis for the judges.
Yeah. I don't usually do like top 10 worst Canadian fights of the year because like I'm not trying to get people mad at me like that, but yeah, put that one on the list, man. Yeah, Isabelle Lacroix, man, she looked pretty good. That's a super Quebecois name. I don't know why she's not from Quebec, but that's all right. Like her opponent did not want nothing to do with her striking. So she clinched and she won. She realized quickly that she did not want nothing to do with her clinch either because she must have 700 knees to the body. And when they finally like let go of each other by the end of the round, like the very end of the round, you could see that she was out on her feet. Basically, she didn't want nothing to do with like anything that was happening. And Lacroix just put the pace on her and got the standing TKO with like 10 seconds left in the first round. And like her technique looked really clean at range. Her clinch was good. Her technique to even when she was like her back against the fence, she was able to do so, to have some good positions to work with her arms to create some leverage to be able to land her knees and everything. So I really like what I saw from her pro debut, and props to her for that first round finish, man.
Yeah, you could tell like right away she had a huge advantage in the kickboxing, but the fight was a little bit more even in the boxing, I thought, at the very start, just because Vislosky was throwing boxing combos and like throwing quite a few whenever she would get into range. But then when they clinched against the cage for a while, like you said, it was the knees that really had a big impact. I thought like they really changed the way Vislosky was fighting after she ate like so many of those super hard knees. And then those combos that were sort of keeping her in the fight and keeping the respect from Lacroix, she was just throwing straight like single shots. And so then she just not reacting well to anything that Lacroix was landing from there on out. So yeah, it was sort of just a weird visual on the stoppage because you saw her look at the ref and then the ref jump in and then she protested it a lot and was not happy with it. But she was not having much of an impact. She was just waiting to get sort of finished. It just felt like
some weird refereeing on that card, man.
Yeah, definitely. And just like not stepping in when they sort of could have.
Yeah, and then like waiting for the fighter to ask them to TKO them. And then, that was a weird scene for sure. Let's move on to the fight of the night, man. The absolute fun fight. And it's my guy, Kevin, as usual, one of the best, Kevin Popowick Bastien, against Blake Oswald, who's really good, who we saw at Fight League Atlantic get a super cool win over Jericho McPhee, a cool submission by armbar and everything. And bro, that was like one of my favorite rounds of the year for sure. Of course, there's gonna be the Barrio and Marquez round 2. That's gonna be pretty good at the end of the year. But no, I'm a grappler, and they just grappled. Oswald was shooting for takedowns, was getting the takedowns. Kev was able to get up. They were both going for super cool sweeps. Kev once went for the legs and was able to get the sweep from his leg attack. Then I think from the same sequence, he got on top, and Blake Oswald was able to sweep him back with an omoplata sweep. So like just very cool ground exchanges between two guys that obviously are very good grapplers. Kev was able to get the back at the very end of the round, went for the choke, wasn't able to get it, but I think he kind of had his read for the next round. So as soon as round number 2 started, he was waiting for the takedown, sprawled the takedown, took the back from there, and was able to sink in the rear naked choke very early into the second round for his 4th straight win after starting his career 0-2. And like we always knew here that Kevin Popowick was a very, very good fighter, and now I think everybody knows.
Yeah, man, that first round was crazy. It was giving me sort of flashbacks to Matteo Vogel and Nicolas Ouellette. It felt like the crazy wrestling pace that Oswald put on to start the fight, and like mixed with Popowick's sub attempts, just made it super interesting. Both guys got takedowns. Both guys had submission attempts and used those submission attempts to get up. And Kevin landed some really good ground and pound to end the first round too, and then got the back, like you said, when he got his read. But when he got that, he was landing that ground and pound, and it looked like it could have finished the fight if he had another 10, 15 seconds. But he got right back to work there, and yeah, super impressive. Like he's always in a super exciting fight, and he's really been like sort of like you said, 4 fights in a row that he's won. I would have maybe put him as the co-main event because he's been on such a roll lately, and he's blossoming, or he's already blossomed into a top prospect here. But they are pushing Lacroix. She's the hometown fighter, and she also had an amazing performance. So it was a great coming out party for her too. But yeah, Popowick keeping the train rolling, and great fight.
Of course, and I'm always so happy for him, man. He's our guy, one of my friends, and like that was some cool shit. Once again, very fun fight. Before that, we had what are the weirdest shit I've seen in a while. It's Sheila Dinwoodie, Andrea Watson. Fight starts, Watson shoots quite early, gets sprawled, and clearly when they separate, she gets tagged and she gets hurt badly. So she scrambles back to the fence. Dinwoodie goes after her, throws some strikes, they clinch up, throws a huge knee to the body. Watson looks like she's in trouble, but like at no way she looks like her body. Like it's not the strike to the body where she shut down and she's just folded in half on the ground and it's done. Like, yes, it hurt her, but she tried to go for a takedown. She tried to do stuff immediately. And while she's trying that, ref just comes in and steps in and stops the fight. And you're like, whoa. I don't even know if it qualifies as early stoppage because it was like so early, man.
Yeah, it was super weird. Like she was shooting for the takedown, like desperate shooting, but you knew that she wasn't going to get it. And she was just going to keep getting punched in the body. So it definitely was like, it felt the ref was a little early to jump in. Like, not, it's justified, so it's not super early. Nothing would have changed, but he didn't really have the, it's just body shots when someone's shooting for a takedown. It's not exactly finishing blows.
Yeah, and like I agree that probably Dinwoodie would have finished this fight like a few seconds later, but like the ref took away the opportunity for Watson to do something in defense, which I won't say panic wrestling is a good defense, but it's defending still. Like you gotta defend yourself, and like I don't think the ref could make the argument that that was an intelligent defense. So he took away the opportunity for Watson to defend. And most of all, I think he took away the opportunity for Dinwoodie to just have a cool finish on her record. Like, she was about to drop her. She probably would have sprawled her, maybe choked her out, or even, like, I know she's from a jiu-jitsu camp, or maybe just fucking punch her in the face and shit, and like get a cool stoppage where everybody's like, okay, yeah, I feel like this fight can be stopped right now. But nah, the referee just came in super, super, super early, man. I didn't like this stoppage at all. And like, it just sucks for everybody, because Dinwoodie was like, have you ever seen like a more underwhelming, like 15-second knockout? Or like 20-30-second knockout? Like,
yeah, I don't know. Like, it really sucks just that, like, and now that's the main talking point too about this whole thing, rather than how good she looked in her debut at 145 as well. So, you know, she strings together a couple, like another 2-3 wins, she could find herself on PFL Challenger Series next year, because, you know, they're always scooping up those women's featherweight fighters. So, exciting prospect.
Yeah, no, for sure. I look forward. And she had like Shane Campbell and Crualin and Benny Otoru in her corner. So I think she's got some people around her and everything. So yeah, no, good shit for real. But yeah, it kind of sucks that the referee just kind of took the spotlight at the end and made it super like weird and underwhelming, when it shouldn't have been. Like 30 seconds knockout should always be like, holy shit, I can't believe she did that, you know. And it was kind of interesting move by the ref. Yeah, so weird. But then before that, Anton, Potocki, and Nigel, Crosswell. And yeah, that was quite a simple fight for Potocki. Took him down, mounted him like instantly. I don't even know how he jumped from guard to mount like that, but that just happened, and he beat the shit out of him with elbows and stuff until Nigel was forced to give his back and get choked out. And like, there was 2 minutes 35 left in the round, so about midway through the first round. Man, good win for Potocki. That's what you want in a pro debut. Super dominant, like expeditive performance. For Crosswell, like, bro, this grappling did not look good, my guy. Sorry to tell you. But yeah, I guess he knows what to work on now.
Yeah, like right away Potocki got the takedown. Like, credit to Crosswell, he hung in there for a while when he was in the bad position. Like, he could have given his back up right away, but he stuck in there and made some shots and tried to buck out. But yeah, Potocki looked good and got his pro career off to a good start with that win.
Yep, and that's another flyweight that there's going to be like 1 or 2 new flyweights that are going to debut at Samurai. There's one flyweight that just debuted here. So, man, we need those. We need that division to have some talent, because there's some really cool fighters that need some experience in that division. So that's perfect. And let's go for the first fight of the evening, which just fucking breaks my heart, to be honest, man. And I don't know Rob Protomanni. I'm sure he's a super cool guy. I don't know Matt Bednarek either, to be honest. Like, but we were just speaking with Matt Smith and Tom Theocaris saying, yes, he's a cool guy and he works hard. And like, Matt Bednarek, first pro fight, he takes a short notice at 185 against Dorian Dokai. So yes, of course he gets taken down. He gets submitted in the first round. But like, how was it going to happen any other way when you're a 170 that's taking a fight against a monster grappler on short notice? So yeah, that happened. Then fought Matt Smith at BTC. Well fought performance. Did not get the win, but like, really courageous performance. Was able to bust Matt Smith. He had a black eye and stitches under his eyes and everything for like a month and a half after the fight. So like, really tough loss for him, but a hard fought performance where you really see the promise in the guy. And here he comes, and man, Protomanni goes for a takedown immediately and just pulls Bednarek right on top of him. So Matt's like, oh, thank you, man. I didn't ask for that, but I'll take it for sure. Just dominates for the round, is able to have some good control, but also some good strikes on the ground. Like, keep active, make it like a very fun round that was not really competitive. I believe he really won it fair and square. Then second round, Bednarek's able to land a couple strikes, they clinch, and he gets the takedown that time. He's able to work on top, tries for an arm triangles, not able to finish, but gets mount from it. Then they're able to stand up with like 40 seconds left. I feel Protomanni gets the takedown, finishes the round on top, but like really got dominated for 4 minutes and a half of that roundabout. So another clear round for Bednarek. Round 3 starts and like the guy's cruising, like he's getting his first pro win and everything is going well for him. Protomanni goes for the takedown. Bednarek sweeps him, gets into the calf slicer position, is able to tread with the calf slicer and all that stuff. Goes to take the back from there, but ends up under, tries to scramble. Protomanni grabs the neck, sweeps him and mount. Super slick guillotine, to be honest, to capture that in the moment after getting dominated for most of the fight. And Protomanni just gets the choke, and man, Matt Bednarek is 0-3, and he's probably one of the best 0-3s I've seen in my life. And like, it's just heartbreaking for a guy to like, he worked hard and had some fucking like tough fights to get to that one, and he's able to be dominant and everything going according to plan, and boom, just makes one mistake while scrambling up, gives up his neck and gets choked out. And man,
yeah, no, it did look like he was like cruising to the win almost, because he was on top for most of the fight. And yeah, Protomanni was active from the bottom, throwing up lots of shots and throwing up, like, went for the armbar at least 3 or 4 times in the first round. But nothing was close, so it wasn't really scoring a ton. And Bednarek was just evening out with strikes, and he was on top. So I thought that he was winning the fights there. So, yeah, it was like you said, like, he was on his way to getting his first pro career win, and then Protomanni snatched that neck up super slick and rolled him through and forced the tap. I was pretty surprised by it, but yeah, Protomanni did look, he was super willing to be on bottom this fight. Like, there were some in exchanges, like he almost just accepted when he felt like he wasn't going to get the takedown, then just accepted being on bottom, but made sure to get his guard, and so he could be super active and score lots of shots from the bottom. But I thought it was an entertaining fight to start the card off.
Yeah, no, of course, that's exactly what you want from a grappling heavy fight. Like, the main event was an example of what you really don't want. That one was an example of what you want. 2 guys being active, throwing shots, trying stuff. And yes, sometimes doing some mistakes and losing some positions, because that's what's going to happen when you're early in your careers. But that was a good type of grappling fight. And yes, Protomanni, man, with the huge comeback win, that's going to be like comeback of the year candidate for sure, man.
Yeah, super impressive to snatch that up in the grappling, especially after, like, they were grappling the whole fight and Bednarek was able to stay safe. But then the third round, when he's sort of on cruise control, I guess, maybe, I don't know, props to Protomanni because he snatched that thing up.
Yep. So generally, man, I'd still give, I know I have not been the most positive here, but I'd still give a good grade to the event. Like, the Kevin and Blake fight was super cool. That Protomanni Bednarek fight was super cool. The Lacroix and Potocki, who are training partners, so really good night for the MAS Academy, with 2 of their guys just absolutely wrecking shit in the first round. So that was 2 good performances. Overall, like, 4 really good fights and 2, I don't want to say not good fights, because like I said, Dinwoodie Watson should have been a huge highlight. Kind of got like stolen by the referee, unfortunately, but I can't say that's a negative. Yes, it's a negative, but like, I won't have a negative memory of that fight in the long end. Like, but yeah, the main event, of course, I'll have a negative memory of that one. But like, what are you gonna do, man? It's not all fights that are good, and Musa Toliver really came in to be the most blanket fighter we've ever seen, and sometimes it just happens that way. So, man, moving on to the next event for prospects. Good fight. I'm happy that this event just finally happened, because, like, I know they had way more fights and they had all kinds of trouble, even with losing the main event a couple of times, I believe. But with the Strania fight, getting taken away at the last minute because the Quebec Commission decided that they were going to suspend Strania right now and that they were going to call the other guys to try to get him off the card. And you know that usually the commissions stick together. So yeah, that was kind of unfortunate for prospects, for Strania, for his opponent, for everybody. So they were able to pull that event through with only 6 fights. But yeah, that sometimes it just happens that way. And like they've always put on some good shows. So I'll be looking forward to see what's next for Prospect for sure, man.
Yeah, it was a good event, some good finishes. Like I think if we just didn't finish with that fight, then we would have really felt like it was a great event and finished off strong with like some good up and coming talent and people making their debuts, getting their first wins, and Kevin continuing his crazy streak, getting 4 wins in a row. Like he's got to be. I'm excited to see what's next for him. I can't wait. He's been fighting in a couple different promotions for Canada, so probably another fight in BTC soon. But yeah, great. It was a good card. I thought it was good, and I'm just gonna think of "Let's Go, Daddy" whenever I think of it. That's all that I think of.
Yes, man. Let's go, Daddy. Of course, that was the highlight of the main event by far. Good stuff, man. Thanks for coming back on, man. Twice in a day. That's the first time we do that. And yeah, we're ready for all the craziness this week, man. I'm gonna go work and then I'm gonna rest as much as I can because I know that the more that this week will get going, the more crazy that it's gonna get. So I'm ready for all that. Samurai MMA, everything. We'll get you all with the recap for next week. Maybe if I can get a winner on the event or whatever, I'll look into it. But I know it's probably going to be a crazy ass recap because there's just so many fights. And then the week after with 2 events, BTC and Fight League Atlantic, which will both have like Ella fights. So like we're going to be super busy for March. So thanks for tuning in, guys. That was the short episode. Tune in for the episode tomorrow with Matt Smith and Tom Theocaris. It was a great fucking episode, to be honest. It's always fun when you can recap the events with one of the fighter and see their perspective and everything. And I always knew Tommy was good, and Tommy is good. He was even good asking questions to Matt. So the guy's amazing. And yeah, that was fun. So thanks for watching, guys, and see you tomorrow.